Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Torres, and I'm a psychologist here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I want to talk to teenagers about how to get through a romantic breakup. And here's the really weird thing. I too am going through a breakup. About 6 weeks ago, my girlfriend of a year and 4 months ended the relationship, and it devastated me. That first week was brutal. And so, in the past 6 weeks, I've done a bunch of things to kind of get through this experience of grief, and I want to share those things with you. You know, the feelings that I've been going through are the same feelings I had when I was a teenager. So, it's taken me about 50 years to kind of get things right, and I think I did a pretty good job. So, I want to share these things with you, and I hope that it can help you get through this period. These feelings will not last forever. I promise you that. So you might notice that I'm going to look down every once in a while and look at my script because I want to make sure I get all the information to you that you deserve. So here we go. It is very important, number one, to feel the feelings. Cry if you need to cry. You might wake up in the morning with a kind of a heavy pressure on your chest and this ache, heartache. It's normal. This is what happens when a relationship ends. This is what grief looks and feels like. You know, there are ideas about the stages of grief or the end of something. Some of the things that happen is we get into denial. We get angry. We bargain. We think about, well, if I do this, I'll get her back or I'll get him back. If they only knew I did this, then that doesn't work. And then we hit depression, which is the sadness that we feel. And then eventually we get to acceptance. So feel the feelings. They're not going to go away. Now is not the time to use drugs and alcohol or overeat or jump to another relationship in order to bypass the feelings. You have to feel them. I cried buckets for the first week. I went to work, and in between working with young people, I'd cry in between sessions. And I'd cry with friends, and I cried with family. So let the feelings out. Feel the feelings. I understand at school it might not be the best thing to break down in class and fall apart there. But find places where you can let the feelings out and feel the feelings. If you don't allow yourself to feel the feelings, they're just going to get stored up. And that's no good. As I kind of mentioned, point number 2 is to share the feelings with people you trust. You know, a friend of mine says, every time you share your pain with someone, it cuts that pain in half. So you can imagine if you share it over and over again with people you trust, over time it'll take some of the intensity away from the pain. So once again, this isn't sharing it with the random person or the stranger in your life, or this is with people you trust, your parents or a trusted teacher and another adult in your life like a coach or friends who know you well. Share your feelings with them. I did this. I shared it all over the place. People would ask me, how are you doing? And I'd say, I'm kind of struggling. I'm going through a breakup and it's been tough. And immediately they would say, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I get it. I've been there before. So you don't have to dump all your feelings out on everyone you see, but be real about who you are. And don't be afraid of sharing what's happening. Point number 3, very important. Take care of the body. For me, the first week, I lost my appetite. So every morning what I would do is I'd make a little bit of a protein shake, and I'd try to drink some of that. When we're going through a breakup, our bodies can react. Kind of like when I mentioned waking up in the morning with that kind of heavy pressure in my chest, that heartache. We've got to take care of the body. And eating, drinking plenty of water, being really mindful of what we put into our bodies is essential. We want to take good care of ourselves. Like I said before, this is not the time to smoke marijuana, drink alcohol, use any kind of drug, including food, by the way. We don't want to overeat. We don't want to eat a bunch of junk food now. All of those things are designed to get us out of our feelings. And as I said, point number one is we have to feel the feelings. The other thing to do is get some exercise in some way. PE at school may not be enough. So if there's some way that you know how to exercise, maybe you're playing a sport, or maybe you have some equipment at home, or simply getting out and walking really fast, or hopping on your bike, doing something. Because what happens to a lot of us is we get in our head about the breakup, and we stay there, and that drives us crazy. So it's important sometimes to get out of our head and into our body. Point number 4, and this is very, very hard. I suggest no contact with your ex in person or on social media. You definitely don't want to be checking Instagram and seeing that he or she is now suddenly dating someone else. That is not going to be good for you. I know what I had to do is unfriend my ex on Facebook and unfriend people connected to her that I only knew through social media. Because we don't want to be reminded of our ex during this period of time. We want to move on, and having no contact helps us move on. It's the best way to grieve, that they are truly gone in our lives. The next point is, this is something I got from my own therapist. Stay in the feelings and not the story. And so what does that mean? Sometimes what we do is we get into our heads and we create a story about, well, if I had only done this, or if I had only said that, then she'd be with me. That's staying in a story. And the other way we do that is, well, no one will ever love me like he loved me. I'll never find someone as perfect for me as her. That's another story. And every time we add the stories from the past or the future, it only intensifies the pain. The pain on its own is enough. So stay in the pure feelings you're having, the feelings of grief that you're having. Don't add to the pain by creating a story. Stay in the feelings, not the story. The next thing to do is figure out a way to do some creative expression. Now, I know a lot of you, when you think about journaling or writing poetry or doing art, the first thing that comes to mind is you judge yourself. This is not the time to do that. It is a great, great thing to engage the emotional part of our brain in some kind of creative expression. So as I mentioned, journaling, whether that's a Google Doc or something you write with hand, art of any kind, poetry. I made a bunch of music. I wrote about 12 songs in the last 6 weeks. And they weren't songs that were, once again, about the story of what could have been or what should have happened. On the contrary, they were songs about how I was feeling in the moment. So do your best to find some creative expression that speaks to your current feeling about what's going on in this process. The other thing that happens, and I know I had this tendency when I was younger particularly, is it's time to get social versus antisocial. So now is not the time to hide yourself in your bedroom and stay away from other people. I know that You may not feel like being social with others, but it is important to reach out and connect with people so that you can share how you're feeling, so that you don't sink into yourself and sink into your own thoughts and sink into your pain. Get connected with people, go out with friends. And once again, this is with people you trust and who know you well. Get outside of yourself. Participate in maybe, other clubs at school, or get back to your martial arts or team sports. Now is the time to take that energy of grief, of loss and pain, and use it to expand yourself and grow. This is how we grow. We grow often through painful experiences. The other thing I would mention is that therapy is a great thing during these periods of time. So that might simply mean maybe there's a school counselor that you can talk to. Maybe there's a school therapist or a school psychologist who you kind of put off going to because you feel embarrassed. Now is not the time for ego. Get therapy if you need it. If you're feeling like hurting yourself, or you're doing some self-harm or unhealthy practices, and you don't want to share that with your parents, talk to a therapist, maybe through school or in your community, or talk to your parents about getting you connected to a therapist at your nearest medical center. Therapy can be really helpful. I'm there once a week talking about this breakup, and it's been really helpful. And the last thing I want to mention is be grateful for the good times you had with your boyfriend or girlfriend. What happens sometimes when we're in the breakup is we start to demonize our partner. We find all the bad things that he or she did and we focus on those. And the reality is we were in a relationship with someone and we loved them. So there must have been some good times. So find the gratitude in your experience with your girlfriend or boyfriend. Don't stay in the negativity. And this, once again, isn't about staying in a story about the past. But when thoughts come up about them, try to balance them out with some positive things that also occurred. Because the relationship was not just about pain. It was also about love. And I guess all of these suggestions that I'm offering you are about loving yourself now the way you want to be loved. It is very important to not necessarily love yourself through someone else. It's important to love yourself on your own. And the way we love ourselves is to treat ourselves well. And so once again, just to summarize the things that I mentioned. Number 1, feel the feelings. Number 2, share your feelings with people you trust. Number 3, take care of your body. Number 4, no contact with the ex in person or on social media. Number 5, stay in the feelings and not the story. Number 6, find some creative expression. Number 7, get social versus antisocial. Number 8, think about therapy as something that you might want to add on. And the last one, number 9, be grateful for the good times you had with your ex. It wasn't just about pain. And you put that all together, and it's time to love yourself the way you want to be loved. So, this teen tip is not meant to replace any form of treatment. These are suggestions I offer freely based on my own life experience in working with, at this point, thousands of teenagers. If you are feeling suicidal, like hurting yourself or someone else, please call 911 or tell your parents or any trusted adult. You can also get help by calling 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. talk. Or you can text the word HOME, HOME, to 741-741. And these services are available 24/7. And if you are being harmed by someone in your life, please tell an adult you trust, or a medical professional, or a school counselor or teacher. We don't want you being harmed in this time of grief. So I hope these suggestions helped. You are not alone in this, and these feelings will not last forever. I promise you this. So, I made it through my breakup, so can you. I have faith in you. Check out my meditation videos and other teen talks on my YouTube channel, Dr. Michael Torres, here you are, and follow me on Twitter at Dr. Michael Torres. You can also connect with me on my website, www.drmichaeltorres.com. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be safe and protected.